Bubba, I know you're really busy, especially this time of year, so thanks for making some time for us. I know you get to go to all the home games and stuff, and you watch the away games. When you win a series like that, how envious are you of Phil getting to be there in person? Is that one of those things that you want to be there desperately too?
You know what, fellas? There's certain weekends that I hate to miss, and this was one of them. Boy, I listen to Phil, and you know, when you get close to this time of the year, you just you don't want to miss, and it's tough. Or if we go to like Ole Miss or somewhere like that, I don't want to miss. So you know, there might be sometimes next year where I might travel on conference games, but this time of year I got so much going on here that it's tough for me to get away. But I tell you what, yesterday was hard for me because we're in a baseball tournament. We're playing a 10-year-old tournament. I'm coaching, so I'm trying to keep up with the score. I've got Phil on in my pocket, listening to him in between innings, and so it's tough because it's kind of nerve-wracking to hear, you know, what's going on there, and then trying to coach the game at the same time. So, but it's fun though.
Bubba, give us a better perspective as someone that was a great hitter. When you play in a field like that with, as Tommy just alluded to, the big green monster, and not in left field, but in right field, and then when this team, if they make it a TD or Ameritrade, which we know is a bigger ballpark, how do you have to adjust as a hitter when Arkansas has relied so much on the lawn ball this year?
Well, really, Jai, you really don't change your approach that much. If you think about this year and the wind, I know Dave Van Horn's tired of talking about the wind. The wind at Baum Walker's blown in almost every game, and I estimated probably 15 home runs we've had taken away. I think Michael Turner said there's 25 that's been taken away. But, you know, you really don't change your approach that much. You really just try to get good pitches, get in hitters' counts, and just cut the ball in half. That's kind of my message to the hitters is you don't try to hit the bottom of the ball, the top of the ball. You just cut the ball in half and hit good line drives. But the key is getting good pitches and not swinging at that pitcher's pitch. I say it all the time. Good hitters are defined by what they don't swing at. You know, and we did a really good job this weekend, especially Gonzalez yesterday. You look at how we approached Gonzalez. That was Auburn's best starter. His numbers are really good. We laid off the borderline pitches, and we got good pitches in the zone, and we hammered them. We hit a lot of balls really hard, and so that's kind of how you approach it. And the ballpark, yeah, sometimes it plays into it, but if we'll stick with our approach and just play Razorback baseball, it doesn't matter what yard we're in. I think we got a good chance of winning.
But talk about the approach that these players will soon take on. Finals will be behind them, and then it's just baseball, and more baseball, and how Dave can maybe get that team all together in one room, and you get to be a pro because baseball's all you worry about for the next few weeks to the end of the season. Give us some insight on that approach and what changes over these next few weeks as schoolwork gets behind you and baseball becomes the only focus for this team.
I tell you what, Tommy, that's when it's fun, man. It's like playing professional baseball. That's all these guys have to worry about is baseball. Once classes are done, they can wake up in the morning. They can go to the field early and get some extra swings in. If you're working on something with your swing, just anything you need to work on, it's baseball 24/7. And man, nothing's better than that. The only thing is they're not getting paid. Actually, I guess some of them are getting paid. So it's a lot of fun, though. And that's when I really think this team's going to come together. I said it last week that this team still hasn't played its best baseball, and I see it starting to come together. And it's real exciting to see. I see guys in the lineup starting to heat up a little bit. I thought we had a really good weekend offensively at the plate, and I think that's just going to continue to improve. And so once school's out of the way and these guys can focus on baseball only, I think you're going to see this team start to really get rolling.
And that's where I was headed with it because it seems like maybe a little more repetition or just a little more work to build the confidence could be the thing to push this team over the edge. There's been a few issues with the fielding in the last couple of weeks. Seems like Robert Moore's right on the edge of breaking out of his shell at the plate and did a little bit this weekend. So I was just wondering from your perspective if you thought just having that sole focus might be what draws out their best play at the right time.
Oh, I think so, without a doubt. And, you know, the class stuff, it's distracting, and it puts a lot of pressure on these guys. People don't realize how much work these guys put in, you know, before the game even starts. I mean, you guys are aware of it, but these guys are at the field really early. You know, it's after going to classes in the morning, taking their test. Then they head to the ballpark. They're there several hours before the game. they've got their meal, they've got their hitters meetings, their pitchers meetings. They do all this stuff inside before they even get out on the field. They got a couple of hours of work out on the field, and there's just so much work that goes into every game. And boy, you take that classroom stuff out of it, and they can just focus on nonstop baseball, and it's just then they can just relax, have fun, and go play the game of baseball. And I really think you're going to see these guys come together, and it seems to be a close-knit team. And there's just so much potential, like I said, up and down that lineup. And pitching staff's been huge for us so far to keep us in it while our offense has had a few struggles. But I think it's going to be fun, guys, watching them come together here at the end of the season.
Bubba Carpenter with us, analyst for the Arkansas baseball team on the Morning Rush. And you speak to that lineup. With Peyton Stovall being out, Bubba, Dave has a decision to make kind of when he comes back. There's a couple guys that have been moving around. I think Thomas talked about Lenzilli going out at points this weekend. Who are you sticking with right now when Stovall does come back, and how do you think that adjustment is going to come back into place?
Well, I tell you, I feel for Dave Van Horn. It's a good problem to have, but you got a guy like Stovall, and he still hasn't completely heated up this year, but the guy can just flat out hit. You got Lenzilli that just finds a way to get it done. Those two guys sitting on the bench. It's tough. You look at Jace Orphan. He's back in the lineup again. Every time he steps to the plate, he can hit 450 feet. The guy's a really good hitter. There's just so many weapons right there that Dave has, and it's tough. But unfortunately, you only put 9 on the field, so somebody's going to have to sit out. And but the good thing is that whoever's on the bench that day can come off and get a bench hit late in the game, whether it's righty versus lefty. Bring Lenzilli out off the bench, or Peyton Stovall, or there's just so many options for Dave. And I really like where we're at, but I feel for Dave. But like I said, it's a good problem to have, is to have that many weapons.
Well, speaking of a weapon, I don't know how many Arkansas fans expected Braden Webb to lead this team in home runs this year, but he has just been mashing the baseball. Here's a guy that had an incident off the field last year, and I guess that fueled his fire because he's been killing it. What have you thought of Braden Webb, not just in the field but behind the plate this season, Bubba?
Oh, he's been awesome. I tell you, what's great about it is you see how hard Braden works. He got off to a really bad start this year. A testament to Dave and the coaching staff, though, they stayed with him. They kept giving him opportunities. Finally got the click in. But he's probably one of the most talented, if not the most talented player on the team. He's got all the tools. He can play defense. He's got a good arm. He can hit. He can run. He can do a little bit of everything. So I'm so happy to see him get it going, because he really does. The guy's got so much power to all fields. But defensively is just he's incredible out there in center field defensively. You watch him get the balls that other center fielders don't get to. He's got kind of a sixth sense out there where a lot of times he's moving before the ball's even going off the bat. And so it's been really good to see him heat up. And you said, who would have ever thought it? Well, I thought it all along, that he's got it in him, because I've seen him work. I've seen him hitting the cages, and I just know how much talent he's got. And so really happy for him to put it together.
Bubba, we saw 3 errors in the game yesterday, 1 on Saturday by Tiger. You had Wallace, and then Battles had 2, which I heard Phil say he didn't think he'd ever had a multi-error game in his career. As a fielder who's had a high percentage, upper 900s guy, how do you overcome that? Do you go back and look at it and say, oh, that's a bad bounce, or how do you process that and get ready for the next series?
Yeah, I love what Dave said in the postgame. He said that he was hoping the ball was going to be hit to Jalen, and he guarantees that's what Jalen was thinking. Hey, I hope the ball gets hit to me right there. That's the confidence that you have to have as a fielder. And, I think Dave even said, look, if you don't want the ball hit to you, then you need to be an outfielder, or you need to play a different position, or the way I say it, if you don't want it to be hit to you, try soccer. Because the one time you're thinking, I don't want the ball hit to me, it's going to be hit to you. But, Jalen's got confidence. That just happens. It really does. I was glad that he got that last chance there to turn the double play. But the most important part is to know as a player your coach has confidence in you. And, look, I've seen a lot of stops come through here. Jalen's the real deal. That guy gets the balls that no one else gets to up the middle. I mean, he just makes it look so easy. As far as the 3 errors, Caden Wallace made a throwing error. He just didn't square up on the ball. Kind of maybe rushed his throw a little bit. Those things happen. The Brady Tigert error, that's just a hustle play. He's trying to make a glove side turn and get the guy out at home. It's a really tough play, but it has to be a perfect throw to get that out at home in Saturday's game. And he kind of rushed the throw a little bit, but you don't see a lot of freshman mistakes out of Brady Tigert, but I think it's the second throw he's kind of rushed from the mound. But I'll take everything else. I'll take the good with the bad there with Brady Tigert for sure. But I'm not worried about the errors. You look at our defense, and they talk about being strong up the middle. I mean, we're incredible up the middle. Robert Moore, Jalen Battles. I've never seen a better double play combo than those two in college baseball. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so we're going to be in good shape, fellas.
Yeah. Tigert and Evan Taylor were two guys that have emerged over the last month or so, really, to be strong hands out of the bullpen. This weekend we saw Will McIntyre, really this past week, the midweek game, and then yesterday 3 1/3, gave up a run on 3 hits. Give us some analysis on what his emergence means as another quality arm out of the bullpen for Dave coming down the home stretch here.
Oh, it's huge. To see what Will did midweek is good, and you can see him getting a little bit better every time out. But to see what he did yesterday against Auburn, that's a really powerful lineup, up and down the lineup. Plus, you referred to it, it's not an easy place to pitch because the ball flies out of that place. Mm-hmm. So it's not a real comfortable feeling, I'm sure, when you step on the mound. You got the short porch, you got the wind blowing out, you got a really powerful lineup. But, boy, he did a great job yesterday. So having him as just one more arm out there, he can start, he can long relief, middle relief, whatever we need him to do, Will can do. And the best thing is he throws strikes. He doesn't walk people. So he's gonna make them either put the ball in play or he's gonna strike them out. And if you're pitching and you're up there on the mound and you've got a good defense behind you, that helps a ton. And so I think Will can just go out there and throw strikes and let his stuff play because he's really got good stuff. He's added some velo to his fastball. So it's huge having him back there in that bullpen.
Even be that fourth starter you may need down the road somewhere.
Yeah, you look at the way things shape out. When we head to Hoover, we're probably going to need a starter for that first game in Hoover, and so that could be a spot for McIntyre. When you get into postseason, you need that extra starter, and so it's going to be huge having him. And he's another guy. If you look at all the Razorback pitchers, he was the last pitcher out of the whole staff to get out on the mound. And to be honest with you, I'd almost forgotten he was on the roster, but he kept working hard. He talked to DBH, got a chance, and boy, he's just run with it since he got that chance. So you got to love a kid like that worked hard and finally got the opportunity.
Bubba Carpenter, analyst for the Arkansas baseball broadcast. Always great to hear him and Phil together on there. Bubba, we appreciate your time this morning. Again, I know how busy you are, so it was awesome for you to give us 15 minutes this morning.
Hey, I tell you what, this is fun, fellas. Anytime you need me, just give me a shout.
All right, thanks, Bubba. Appreciate
Partners
it.
at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.